Wow, what a weekend. So many ups and downs. Well, coming into this weekend, we've done a lot of meetings and strategies and trying to get the boat a little bit better. We're a bit lacking on pace. We made it work in Croatia, but we're still not where we want to be. So we're making some adjustments and started that in shakedown and continued that through the free practice. And I think we've come to a solution where we want to be, or we're getting closer to where we want to be.
Thursday was all about testing, trying to learn some more about the boat.
Bit of a compromise session. It was essentially 30 minutes of perfectly great running, followed by 30 minutes of a nightmare mini storm rolling in.
Didn't it?
First time in E1 they've seen rain.
Then into free practice. There's still a lot to learn about the boats. There's not so many things we can change, but the things we can change, you have to get absolutely right every time. So it's just about building that kind of database of information of different conditions, whether it's choppy saltwater or calm freshwater. What do we have to do differently? And we put something together for qualifying, didn't we?
Yes.
Both drivers did well, again, evenly matched.
So from the very first session, we've obviously been on fresh water here, so it's been a completely different feeling to when we're running on salt water. I think the boats felt like we could reach the limit more. We haven't got the waves that kill the speed early, so we're reaching higher top speeds, but then it's so unpredictable at top speed. So we're really having our work cut out to try and figure out how to control it at top speed within the cockpit, which we've seen across the paddock all day. There's been so much drama over the weekend with the top speed and trying to turn it in. That's been our biggest challenge since, I guess, the shakedown. But I think the main thing here this weekend has been the race starts.
Managed to do a repeat on the start from Dubrovnik. Another lane 4 to P1 at the first pin.
And Rusty delivered another excellent lesson to the rest of the grid, I would suggest. The stillness of this fresh water versus, say, the slight choppiness of Jeddah or Dubrovnik. The first time we're on a lake, when the foils really bite and grip up, it fires the boat. They react in quite violent ways and they'll really spit the boats out. We've seen it probably 5 or 6 times across the grid, and Rusty got really, really unlucky, we think. Where he just turned in, the foil submarined and really spat him out like in a really violent way. 99 times out of 100, he'd have been fine, but this one time it just clipped this smart mark as he came down.
Obviously, you try not to have any collisions, but when you do with the smart mark, it kind of brings everybody together to figure out a program for tomorrow. Obviously, it was not what we wanted, and it just makes everybody's their lives a little harder. So fixing the foil, got everything ready to go, and the boys have been so strong on the mechanic side all year. They're always on it and making sure we have the best boat we can for the weekend. And
the mechanics had to put another shift in. Thankfully, unlike Dubrovnik, we had a little bit longer than 40 minutes to change a foil, which was quite useful. But it did mean the guys had to put a shift in last night to also repair some damage to the outboard that we think was probably caused by that really violent kind of torque reaction. And then
it's been a day, hasn't it?
It's been a day. Today has been a day.
We had a tough first group race, didn't we?
Yes, that's true.
Nothing particularly dramatic, just a few things didn't go our way. The way the event format works, you always have to be on it. Every single session, and at any point, it can all go really terribly wrong for you. We got ourselves into the race-off, keeps the route to the final alive, so that's the really important thing. Then there was a little shake-up in the results, some post-race penalties were applied. A little bit of that worked in our favour, which put us into the final, but unfortunately, we also took a little bit of damage from one of the other boats. They kind of hit us from behind, which is something that I don't think has been seen in E1 before. We've had a little bit of side-to-side racing, so we managed to finish the race, obviously, which was the main thing. But while there were these penalty discussions going on, there was a separate discussion going on about, can we even continue the event? Is the boat safe? Is it seaworthy still?
It wasn't really safe to run. So despite huge efforts, as always, from our mechanics and from the sort of support technicians from the series to kind of figure out, was there a way that we could patch this up in time? And it was decided from the grounds of safety that we couldn't really continue. And that's when it got really nuts. We were in the final, but we couldn't compete. But it became clear that potentially there was an option for us to compete in a spare boat, or even potentially have a boat that wasn't in the finals from another team given to us to compete in.
So we were running around the paddock and we were asking every single team that was out there in the place race if we could just put a bit of charge in your battery and then take their boat out to finish the final. We could at least do the second final.
We're eternally grateful actually to a few teams in the paddock who offered either their equipment or their services, or in some cases their actual boat to complete this race. We've been incredibly lucky to have been supported by the rest of the paddock here. I think everyone wants everyone to be able to race, and I think they could see there was a bit of an injustice being done here through no fault of our own, and so we're really fortunate that the rest of the grid stepped up and were willing to help us. In the end, for various painful but understandable reason we weren't able to take our spots for those final races, which means we end the weekend 5th without having the option or ability to kind of compete in the 2 finals, which is bruising, but it is what it is.
After the day we've had.
After the day we've
feels like quite a result.
I think this weekend has tested us the most as a team in a way that we weren't expecting. You know, the last hour before the final, every single team member was just trying to find us a boat to race in, whether that was a championship boat that we could put on charge or a different team boat that we could drag in and try and use one of the other teams to convince them that we could use their boats for the final. Everybody has worked so hard as a team this weekend, so we're super proud of what we've achieved.
I think if there's nothing else, we demonstrated to ourselves and the rest of the grid that Team AlUla are not going to take no for an answer first time round. So I'm proud of the way we reacted to that. We know there was an increase in pace this weekend. We learned a lot from this and actually pretty fired up to go to Monaco to put in place some of these changes to hopefully have a bit of a cleaner weekend. Like, you can't always control that. Deliver another strong result.
We'll see everyone in Monaco, won't we?
Yeah. Season's not over yet.
So we had some good pace, and that's kind of the biggest bummer of this whole weekend. We really wanted to see where we could have taken that pace, and it's racing. Unfortunately, accidents happen. I hit a smart mark this weekend, and we had a lot going for us this weekend. Unfortunately, the finish wasn't there, but we will take the P5 for points. We've been having a lot of fun over here in Europe, and moving on to Monaco is going to be huge. I personally never been to Monaco. Katie raced Monaco last year. She's quite excited. What do you think we could do in Monaco, Katie?
Everything. I think we've been saving our first win for Monaco because what a location to win in. So no pressure, Rusty, but I think we've got to bring the heat.